Fabio from Hopsworks here, and today we're going to be looking at what is a feature group in Hopsworks and how to create one. A feature group is a container for features. Those features are related to a specific entity. There could be an account, there could be a transaction, could be a profile or something like this. They are not related to a specific model. In fact, the features are there as part of the feature groups to be able to be reused across multiple different models by the different members of the team. So let's see how we can create a feature group in Hopsworks from the code. So we're going to be looking here. This is my project. I can actually have a look at the different feature groups I have in my project. On Hopsworks, I currently have one, which is the profiles, and here I can see all the features that are part of the profile, the primary key, the event time, and I'm going to be looking at it in just a second. So the way you create feature groups is through the Hopsworks API. The Hopsworks API are available in Python and Java and Scala, and the basic concept of it is that they work out of dataframes, right? So what you're actually doing when you're registering a feature group with Hopsworks, you're actually providing a data frame and say, please Hopsworks register and publish this data frame on the feature store. So what you can see here that I have already set up my notebook. Here you can see that I'm just, I have a just plain pandas data frame. We're going to be looking in next videos how to do that with Spark or how to do that with Flink and Beam. Data frame can come from any data sources. It can come from a data warehouse. It can come from data lake. It can come from a stream or graph database or anything like this. In this example, I have all the profiles for my credit cards holders, and I'm going to just compute a couple of simple features just to give you an idea on how to register them, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is actually I'm going to create a feature function, right? So the feature function is just a simple feature function that computes the age of the credit card holder at this point in time, right? So here I'm just doing some Panda transformations. I'm subtracting the date of today with the birthday that I have in my data set, and I'm registering that feature in my data frame. The important thing to understand here is that this pipeline is going to be run every day, every month, every week, depending a little bit on how often you want to refresh these profiles. Every time, obviously, each credit card holder will have a different age. So what's important here is to say, okay, these features are valid for this specific point in time, and we're going to be useful this information later on when we're going to look at how to assemble features together to create as part of a training pipeline and inference pipeline. So here we basically say I'm going to create another column in my data frame called the event time, and I'm going to set the information to be my timestamp as of right now. The other thing I'm going to do, just let me run this once. Another thing I'm going to do is that I'm not going to bring all the original columns of my data frame into my feature group. I don't necessarily care about what's the name and the email address of the person. I'm just going to care about the credit card number, which is going to be my primary key, my event time, and the age and the country of the credit card holder. So I'm going to select the features in my data frame, and I'm going to get basically back my data frame that is going to be my final set of columns that I'm going to register with Hopsworks. So how do we go ahead and register with Hopsworks? The first thing I'm going to do is actually import the Hopsworks API, right? So this is the library called Hopsworks. It's available if you're running computation within Hopsworks, and then you can install it from PyPy if you're running outside Hopsworks. The first thing you need to do is actually connect to the feature store. Here you have two steps. The first step is actually to log in. Here you need to provide information on where is your deployment and the API key that you're going to use to authenticate with your deployment and your project that you're going to be working on. The next step is to get access to the feature store object. Feature store object is an object that allows you to get access to all the feature groups, create feature groups, and the other entities that we're going to be looking at throughout the set of videos. Okay, once I logged in, the next step is actually to instantiate a feature group object. A feature group object is, as I said, is just a container containing all my features that are part of my pandas data frame. And I have several options that I need to set here. The first one is the name and the version, right? We're going to be looking at versioning and different schemes of versioning and how to best use it in another video. For the moment, we're going to set the name profiles and version 1. These represent, in summary, just the schema of the feature group. We're going to add the descriptions to make the features more discoverable, and we're going to set the primary key. In this case, we have a single column used as a primary key, which is my credit card number, and we're also going to set the event time to be the event time column in my pandas data frame. This example is an online example. Data needs to be available in real time for models to be able to make predictions. As such, we're going to set online enable flag to be true, so the data is going to be available both online and offline. And finally, we want to be able to give data scientists that are looking into using these features some ways of understanding the features through statistics. So we're going to compute some of the statistics available in Hopsworks. We're going to be looking at later descriptive histograms and correlations between features. So once we have created the metadata object, we can go ahead and actually insert it and register the data frame with the feature store. And we do that through this insert method in Hopsworks, and we just provide the pandas data frame that we want to register. So while it's doing it, what's going to happen is going to upload the data into Hopsworks, and it's going to launch the necessary jobs to be able to ingest that data. So in the meantime, we go back to the UI and see what it has created, right? So what we created here is essentially the information about my feature group. You can see all the features. We also added the description for some of the features. We add the description for the age and the country. This is, again, going to be useful when we're going to be looking at how to discover features that you can use. We have a set of other items that we're going to be looking throughout the other videos and how to populate them. For the moment, what we can look at, for instance, is the data preview. So we can have a quick look at how data was written into the feature store. This is the online. We can also look at the offline feature store. As I said, we compute statistics every time we write data into the feature store. So you can have a quick look at the descriptive statistics. You can have a quick look at the histograms. And in this case, doesn't make much sense, but you can also look at the correlation between features within a single feature group. You can also look at what has happened in the features in that feature group over the course of the time. So you can basically look at what data was committed, rows that have been added, rows that have been updated, and more information about that essentially, right? So you can see the different events that happen and keep track of things that might be interesting for you. So we have created a feature group. In the next videos, we're going to be looking at how to create an external feature group.